What's up there, fellas? How you doing? Hopefully you're having a great day. Hopefully your day is going good. Well, welcome to Famous Football. I'm your host, Nick. Let's talk football. International break sucks. Let me just get that out there, yeah? Now you gotta wait for flipping 2 weeks before you get to watch your team play. You know what it means. I gotta go this entire weekend with no, without me watching Chelsea play. Man, that's a tough life to live. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it have to happen. But we're gonna be talking about the Premier League transfer rating, right? I'm gonna be rating each team according to the business that they did in the transfer window. It's not the rating is not just gonna be based on how much they spend, but also on the quality of player that they brought in, right? So is their squad strengthened as compared to what it was last season? So that's why I'm gonna be basing my rating on. So it's not so much of a rating, but it's more of a ranking, right? So it's like from 20th to first. So we're gonna start down at the bottom, who's there, and then we'll move to the top, right? So let's get into it, fellas. At 20th, I have Fulham. Fulham is sitting at 20th for me because if you look at the business that they did, it's close to none, right? The only notable business that Fulham did was bringing Samuel Chukwueze from AC Milan, to the Premier League or at Fulham on loan. It's not even a permanent deal; it's on loan. But now they also did another deal with Kevin, bringing Kevin in from Shakhtar Donetsk, right? So that's another business that they did. But they also wanted to bring in Tariq George, but the deal fell through last minute of time because the papers or the contract or whatever they were supposed to sign didn't get signed until deadline day was over. So that didn't want you. But in terms of business, they didn't really do much. It was more of a quiet business transfer window for Fulham. So they didn't really get to do much in terms of outgoings as well. They released a lot of players. A lot of people went on loan. So I think they only get to make what 10 million for Andres Pereira going to Palmeiras. So that pretty much. So for me, they're sitting down at the bottom in terms of transfer or in terms of business. And the next person we have is Brentford. For me, Brentford is sitting next at 19 because Brentford lost a lot of players than they brought in. Now, the player that they lost or they got rid of, not necessarily got rid of or that left. So you have Mbembo, you have Cunha, and their manager as well. Now they also lost other people with their captain Christian Nogard also leaving, right? So you have all these quality players that left the club, but now if you look at the people that they brought in, it doesn't really match the quality. Now the season just started, so you don't really know who's going to be who or who's showing up. But not as of now, there isn't really much going on. Obviously, they got a new manager, but the quality that they brought in, and they brought in Jordan Henderson, yes, that was at Liverpool. He went to Saudi, now he's there, right? So they brought him in, and now maybe that would be some sort of an improvement for them in terms of their midfield because we know for this guy Henderson, he also has some sort of a quality, but in terms of recruitment, so far they haven't been impressive because the people that they brought in doesn't really match the people that they went out. You left Wissa that left to go to Newcastle. You also have Mbeumo that is at United right now. That Thomas Frank is at Spurs right now. So there isn't much in terms of business that they did. But so for me, they sit in 19, and then we move Wolf. Wolf, not again, it's another club that didn't really do much, in my opinion, in terms of business, right? They didn't really get a lot done. Now they lost one of their not even one of their talisman in Mateus Cunha. I feel like as awful as they were last season, he was one of the reasons why they didn't get relegated, right? They stay in the Premier League. They lost him. I don't think they have brought in somebody that can have the same that do have the same level as him or can bring what him brought to the team, right? And I think that's gonna cause them maybe probably get relegated or something. Now they sit in 20th in the league, if I'm not mistaken. So that kind of show the kind of transfer market that the type of business that they did in the transfer market that wasn't good, right? So I know they brought in few signing here and there. The Fer Lopez, right? That's a good one. Tolu, that's another okay one. But is that going to change anything for them? That's what I'm looking at. It's not so much how much you spend, but it's like the quality that you bring in, right? So it's like, is the player, is the people quality as compared to what you were? Is there an improvement in your squad based on where you were? Because last season they were doing awful in the Premier League. I don't think they were sitting 20th after the third game. After week three, no, I don't think so. But now they're sitting, so it's like there isn't much of an improvement. But again, we are just in the third week of the Premier League. So let's see what happens as it go on past. So now they're sitting For me, they're sitting at 18, right? And then we have West Ham. West Ham, on the other hand, didn't really do much for me either, right? I said they didn't really do much in the transfer market. We also know West Ham is another team that lost one of their star player, right? One of the talisman. So Mohamed Kudus left to go to Spurs. He is at Spurs right now, and I don't think they have brought in somebody to replace him. Now I'm not looking, but they look awful now. They're in week 3. They got their first win against Nottingham Forest, which is good. They brought in Callum Wilson. They brought in others. I would say decent looking players as well, right? Into the now one player that they brought in is the guy that is currently playing as a left back. They also managed to bring in Walker Peters on a free. That's another cool business, right? But is it an upgrade to West Ham? And again, with West Ham, it's kind of like a complicated one, right? Because if you look at their score, I don't think it's entirely bad. I don't think also they made a decent signing enough to be able to upgrade the squad. Not so much, but again, is it them or is it the manager that is not making, I don't know, setting them all well? Because we know Grandpa, right, was at Chelsea. Now his spell at Brighton was brilliant, but since then at Chelsea not so much. Now he's finding difficulty with West Ham as well. So is it Grandpa or tactic that is suffering them? But in terms of business in general, I don't think they did a pretty good business in there, because bringing Callum Wilson, now as much as he's good, you also need energy up there. You have Callum Wilson and you have Fulcrum as your center forward. There isn't much of an energy in that line. There isn't much of an energy in that, what's it called, attacking option that you have right there. Those two people, there isn't much of an energy, and so you need a little bit more. So I'll say if they could have brought in somebody maybe a bit younger, decent, and could put in goal like Jackson, but they didn't. But so for me, they are set in 17, and then next I have Villa, and the reason why Villa is sitting 17 for 16, sorry, Villa is sitting 16 for me is because Villa had to watch out for the PFF rule, right? So it's like they couldn't really do much in the transfer market. They had to sell players. They have to make sure they balance their books. So for them, they couldn't really do much in the transfer. Now they also managed to do a little bit with in the transfer market. So we saw that they got Sancho on loan. They also got another player from Man United, Lindelof. They managed to get Lindelof on loan as well. And then they signed Harvey Elliott. So I think that's good business, right? In terms of business, that's good business, right? They managed to bring quality. Sancho is good quality. Lindelof, is also okay. Harvey Elliott, also at a decent level. I think he could flourish at Aston Villa. So let's see what happens with that. So they say in 16 for me, but you know, they didn't really do much. Now, Emi Martinez was supposed to leave, right, to go to another club, but that didn't happen. So now he's still at the club, and I don't know what they're gonna do with him. And so we see what happened with that. So as for me, in terms of transfer, they're sitting 16, and then you have Leeds United, right? Leeds United saying what they said in 15 for me is because they did, not bad business, I would say, in the transfer market. Now they are newly promoted team, not relegated. So they were able to do a little bit of business here and there to be able to upgrade their squad. So now do I think they upgraded their squad? Yes. To understand, yes, they did, right? But I don't think it's like, I don't know, top class upgrade. Now they sound a lot, they did a lot of signing, let's be honest. At least in terms of players coming in, they have at least close to 10 players that came in, right? But I'll say the notable signing among them would be Carver Lewis, right? He was Everton. They got him for free as well, so that's pretty good. Another one would be Okafor from AC Milan, so that's another good signing for them. But I think they were able to make good addition to their squad that will bring some sort of an advancement to them. But again, it's they enter in a whole different phase. Yeah, they were in the championship, now they're in the league. They were in the league before, but let's see what happened with them. But so far for me, they are sitting 15. And then the next I have Palace. Palace because again, Palace didn't. I don't think Palace actually did a lot in this window, right? Now they did a little bit, but not a lot, because we know they lost Eze, and now they lost Eze. They was supposed to lose Magay, but that didn't happen. So, and I think that's a goal. That's a plus for them. That's good for them because he's been solid, right? He's been solid for them. He's been their captain. He's been one of their most consistent players over the years. And my guy is quality. We all know that. So it's good for them that he didn't leave. But in terms of business, I don't know because I don't see they didn't really do much of a business, right? Now they brought in other people to Jeremy Pino to be able to replace Eze, right? So we even saw that he got the number 10 as well. But in terms of business, they didn't really do much. I would say okay, they should be up there. But is Jeremy Pino, the equivalent to Eze? Now we're gonna see how that goes, right? And then you have Bournemouth. Bournemouth saying what they're saying because they're saying 13 for me because for them they got rid of not I say got rid of, but they lost a lot of players in what they had before. So Milo Kirkes, nine's at Liverpool. Dean Howson is gone, right? He's at Madrid. Not just him, but you have Kepa that was there. You have Dango, right? So now all these players they lost to you know to other players. Now Kepa, granted, Kepa was on loan, so he wasn't really like a permanent player there. But the rest they lost, and they were all quality. And now we don't know if they the people they brought in can maintain the same level. But we also know they're not doing bad as well. So to an extent, they have brought in people to be able to keep the level because we saw them against Spurs, right? It's not like their playing style change or anything. It's not like they look weakened, right? Especially against Spurs. Now again, it's not like they dominated Spurs either, right? But they went over game plans and they were able to, do what they came there to do. So that was good on their for them. So maybe for them, they say in 13 minutes they have done something at least in the transfer market. Now, after they did more in terms of business than maybe income, bringing people in, right? So I'll say outgoings they did well, then bringing people in. But again, with these mid-table thing clubs, you don't know because they're just some players that nobody know, and then they come into the league and then blow up, right? So they are sitting 13 for me, and then we have Bournemouth. Bournemouth is sitting 12, and the reason being is this: if you look, they have done pretty decent business, right? Kyle Walker, they got him, they got Kyle Walker, and not just Kyle Walker, they also got Ugochukwu, right, from Chelsea, and then Amanda Broja as well. So they've been doing, to understand, a fairly decent business, but they also lost their goalkeeper to City, right, James Tranfer. So for me, they say in 12, and then you have Newcastle. Newcastle is another one that say they said in 11, and the reason being is this: in the entire transfer market, Newcastle went for a lot of players that didn't go for them, that didn't end up going to them, right? We know they wanted to keep Isak. Isak didn't stay. They wanted both Isak and Ekitike to be at Liverpool, at Newcastle, but that didn't happen. You have Isak and Ekitike on the other side at Liverpool. So, but in terms of business, they were able to do business. They brought in Nicholas Watermaid. They also brought in Wissa, right? And the Ramsdale is there as well. So they have a pretty good Elanga, right? Malik Tar, Ramsey, Jacob Ramsey as well. So they brought in a pretty good amount of people, and I think decent quality to be able to at least maintain the level. And we saw them against Liverpool. They were not a joke. They were a serious team. So that's for me that's pretty good. That's pretty good business. So they're sitting 11 for me. You have Brighton. Brighton is staying 10 because it's Brighton, right? It's like nobody know what Brighton is up to until Brighton is up to something. In terms of business, like you never hear Brighton go for, like, at least within the last 5 years, you haven't heard Brighton go for like a notable striker, a notable, I don't know, midfielder. Brighton always go find somebody, I don't know, from wherever, right? And bring them, and then they blow up, and then they get money from it, right? So I feel like with Brighton, I put them at 10 because that's how their business been, and so far it's been good. It's been good for them, right? They've been bringing in quality. So I know with Brighton, there's going to bring, and whoever they bring in is going to be quality to understand, right? Now they got rid of the sold Ja Pedro, not just Ja Pedro, Fukando Buenanote as well. They also Sinso, right? Three of those people went to Chelsea. Jesus, man. But that's what happened with that. So three of that player went to Chelsea, but they also did other business as well, bringing other people in that kind of help their squad as well. So with Brighton, you never know, and I think they say nothing is fair for me because as much as you don't know, you also know that Brighton's gonna bring in quality to help that squad, and they have kind of like the system to be able to help whoever they bring in develop into the player that they want them to develop into. And then at 9, I have Everton. And the reason being is like Everton, so far they look good. With the addition they have, Kenyan Dewsbury, Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish look like he's playing the football of his life. You see, like he looks like he's at Villa, right, again. And Dewsbury Hall looks like he's at Leicester, right? So the both of them, in a sense, have rejuvenated their career, and that's pretty good for Everton. So in terms of that, and it's not just that, they also managed to bring in other addition to the squad as well. I know they go up Brazilian, and that's pretty good for them. They're looking good as well. So for me, they have to be sitting at 9, you know. And let's see, and that's good business. And they're doing great, right? David Moyes, like he made the signing that he's supposed to make, and I think you can see it, right? So congratulations to them. But then at 8, you have United. United splashed, what, 200 and something million, right? United splashed like 200 plus million, right, in this transfer market on Imbuemo, Cunha, and Sesko, right? Those three. So far, they're struggling, right? As you can also see some sort of an advancement in Man United play, right? And I say improvement in Man United, the way Man United play. So now it's like you can see purpose in terms of their possession. You can see something like in Buemo or Cunha. Now the only person I think is having a slow start is Sesko. But the other two, you can see the quality in Cunha. You can also see the quality in Buemo. Now they need to take their chances and bury them, or otherwise Man United is just gonna keep struggling. But so for me, this is going to be saying 8 because if they're a decent business. Now, I don't think personally they may not excrete in some of the players they're supposed to excrete in. Now, they brought in a goalkeeper, and I think they needed that. But I also think they need a proper wing back. You're suffering Ahmad. Don't put Ahmad as a winger. Now, he's somebody that can be one of your creative options up there. You need him, right? Or if you want him playing as a wing back, play him in a way, what's it called? That you kind of alleviate some of the defensive work of him. It's not the case that he's not going to defend, but just like you want more creativity out of him, you want more attacking option out of him. So now you bring in, maybe you complement him with a right center back or left center back that kind of helps in as well. So let's see, but Man United sitting 8th, right? I know on the table they're sitting 9, right? So that's funny. But then you have Spurs. Spurs, I feel like for me in the last 5 years, this is one of Spurs' best window ever, transfer market window, right? The business that they did, absolutely amazing, right? They brought in Simmons, they brought in Kudos, Palhinha from Bayern, right? It's not, and then they managed to bring in Kolumuani as well. So in terms of business, they are doing it, been successful so far to me personally, right? In terms of the business that they brought in, I think it has straightened that squad. Not just that, but the manager they brought in, Thomas Frank, you know, tactically he's looking sound, and their score has improved so much as compared to watching Spurs play last season. The high line was not there, but this season there's some sort of at least so far there's some sort of a balance and a structure to the way Spurs play. And the new addition they have made, you can see the improvement, you can see the quality, you can see there's an upgrade, right? From the midfield to the attack, the options that they have, and now I feel like they're just gonna get better, right? Columuan is gonna provide competition for Richarlison. You have what's his name, Simmons that already is in, that's going to provide another competition for Madison in the future. You have Kudus that is there, so they have option, and I think they do look better than they were last season. So to Spurs, congratulations, well done, good business. But we know you're not going to win anything. Yeah, nothing. But then, yeah, we have Forest. I have Forest sitting at 6, right? And the reason being, they didn't get rid of a lot of players, or they didn't sell a lot of players. They kept as much as possible. Now, the notable player that Forest got rid of is Elanga, right? They sold Elanga, but they also brought in quality. Now, they brought in Douglas Luiz. Now, granted he's on loan, but they also brought in Hutchinson that came from Ipswich, and then they brought McCarthy that came from Man City. So I think those two additions is pretty good. Now, in terms of depth, those people give them depth. Now, even if Hutchinson is not a starter, he gave you depth. McCarthy may not start in front of Gibbs White, but he gave you depth as well. So in terms of depth, that's pretty good, and I think it kind of straightened their score. They lost against West Ham, and but in terms of business, I think they did a decent business. Now it took them a little bit. They almost lost Gibbs White to the Spurs. That didn't happen, but they did what they could have done in terms of the transfer market, and that looks good, right? I think they also got Zichenko. on their land day on loan as well. So that's pretty good for them, right? They did a pretty decent business. And then City, for me, City sit in fifth, right? One thing is because they did their business as early as possible. They were one of those teams. They got in the people that they needed as early as possible. De Bruyne was out, Shirky in, Reynolds in. Their business, everything that they wanted, the people that they wanted, they were in as early as possible, and they called it a day. So they were ready. Now their new addition is Donnarumma, and I think that's also a brilliant signing because so in terms of quality, right? So yeah, adding quality to their team. Now again, you can say I'm not gonna say Shirky is better than De Bruyne. No, I'm not gonna say that. But in the long run, he has the potential to be right. He has the potential to add something to City squad that City doesn't have right now, right? He's a creative player, and now you have a lot of creative options. You have Reynolds, and then you still have Rodri. So in terms of signing and bringing in, they did fairly decent. Now they're struggling right now as well. I said it's gonna be okay. Like I'm gonna say, if let's see, you can keep struggling. I do not care. I don't care, and hopefully you keep struggling. Maybe I don't think you'll get ready to get it like Man United, but if y'all can finish somewhere around 10, I think that would be a good humbling experience. So let's see what happens with that. I have Sunderland at fourth, and the reason being is like because I've watched the Premier so far. They have decent. They have Ettinger, not from Brighton, right? So that's another player, Brighton. It's like they brought in decent. They brought in experience, right? So they brought in people that's mostly been in the league or played in the league before. So they brought in that kind of gave them that experience, and now you can see how that's adding to their squad, right? When you watch them play, you wouldn't know like that they just got promoted. They look like a fairly decent squad, and they're doing as good as I know as good as anybody could do, right? Well, not anybody could do, but for their level and what people expected them to be, like as of now, they're doing very well, right? They know how to grind a win. They are aggressive. They press. They do everything, and they have the quality of player to kind of support that as well. So Sunderland, good business all around for me, right? I'll give them that. Third, I have Arsenal. In terms of business, Arsenal did a pretty good business this summer window, right? If you pay attention to all of the signing Arsenal made, right? They needed them. They needed a striker. They got Eucharist. Now you can argue to say there's some sort of a struggle going on there with Eucharist in Arsenal, right? That is not. At least as of now, it doesn't seem like he fits into the Arsenal system. Yeah, or they're not finding means to kind of get him involved as they should be, but they needed a striker and they got him. And then they brought in Eze, they brought in Kapie, they brought in Zubimendi. All those signings they needed them, right? They needed all of that, and now they have them. Now some may argue they shouldn't have let Partey go, but that's something that already happened. We can't really do much about that. But all of the signing that they brought in, low school, and you can see it offered them depth and it also improved the squad because if you have that many options, Madueke, if you have that people as option on your bench, it absolutely improved the squad. It absolutely improved your practice session because now you have quality going against quality, so it kind of puts you in a better position in terms of readiness before you even play the game. So Arsenal, they did a lot of good business. So congratulations to them. They sit in third. And for me, second is the Mighty Blues. Yeah, the big boys. Yeah, we say in blue. We say in blue. We are in blue, but we say in second. And the reason being, we also did good business in the league in this window, right? Looking at the people that we have, we brought in Esteva, quality, Dilap, quality, Ja Pedro, so far, signing of the season, right? We have Ganacho, we have Gatins, we have Facando Bonanote, right? And don't forget, we send, what's his name, on loan as well. Kendrick Pius on loan. So it's the in terms of business, Jesse brought a lot of people in to kind of strengthen the squad as well and give us depth. So put us in a good position to be able to compete. And I think we are going to compete. Listen, I told you, Lord, I see trophy. I see trophy. Silverwares, nothing but silverwares, right? Nah, we're bringing something home. Listen, this season, we are living with something. We're ending this season with something. That's what I can say. But at number one, I have Liverpool. Undeniably, one of the best transfer window for Liverpool, right? Eketike, Isak, Kirkis, Frimpong, Verts. Tell me those particular people don't make your team better. Tell me that they don't. Yeah, they absolutely don't. They absolutely do. Kirkis almost, a competition or an upgrade for Rubble. Frimpong, replacement for perfect replacement for Trent. Now, maybe not in an attacking sense, but he gave you a good balance going forward and coming, and defensively as well. One of the best 10 out there, one of the best attacking mid out there. Now, because he haven't scored yet, that doesn't mean he's not doing anything. Almost like Palmer. Palmer doesn't score, but you know Palmer is involved in the game, right? And then Eketike, he's already hit the ground running. Isak, we know, he's going to be Isak, right? So in terms of signing, they've done the madness. And congratulations to Liverpool, right? They spend nuts amount of money, right? But with the entire transfer window, right? From a business standpoint, if not from a business, just income and bringing player in and getting and signing, Liverpool had the best transfer window ever, right? Not this season, right? And this transfer window, I think the most amount of money was spent, right? I think over close to 3 billion or over 3 billion was spent in this transfer window, just in the Premier League alone, right? If I'm not mistaken. So a lot of money was spent in there, right? About 3.5 billion was spent, right? I think euros. So that's not. But in terms of business, just pure business, Bournemouth had the best. They sold more players than they brought in, right? So they had like what 100 million plus, right? Let's just say net spend. And then you have Brighton 75. I'm not surprised. You have Brentford with 56. You had Aston Villa with 25. And then you have Crystal Palace 17. And you have Chelsea 4. Messi, this thing. But in terms of just pure income, Chelsea had one of the best pure income out there. Like in terms of selling player, we sold more player than any team in the world this transfer window, right? 300, about 332 million. We are doing it, but that's what it was. So for the transfer window, Liverpool win it, in my opinion, and they did a lot of brilliance on it. And now the way they play shows that it makes sense. So congratulations to Liverpool for doing that. And let me know your thoughts about it. What everything that we discussed. Who do you think should have been what they were in my ranking, right? So do you think maybe whatever thing that you don't think, and who do you think so far is the signing of the season? So far is the signing of the season. At the end of the season, who do you think will be the signing of the season? Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Much appreciated. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Cheers.